After watching that game, I just am bored of Manchester City. It felt inevitable. You can see Arsenal challenge for the title all season, and you kind of always knew that this would be the outcome. And to me, this is a signal with their dominance of the Premier League becoming more like, obviously not the French league, the Bundesliga potentially. Dortmund challenge every now and then, other teams challenge every now and then, but up to this year with Leverkusen, it's always been Bayern Munich that have just dominated it. Manchester City this year haven't been at their best. There's been so many points throughout the season. You've heard pundits say it. You've probably said it yourself about individual players. It doesn't feel like Haaland has been as good as he was last year, but he's still the top scorer in the league and had a very good season. It doesn't feel like the team's clicked as much, but they're still top of the league and have practically won the Premier League again. It's just... I've got some notes on the game, and I'll talk a little bit about what just happened against Tottenham. Tottenham put up a good fight, and there's been many teams to put up good fights against Manchester City this year. But when you've got Foden firing on all cylinders, a player who they didn't even really have to start every game in his correct position up to the start of this year because they have an abundance of options 24/7. Ederson looked like he'd got a pretty bad injury or was nearly pretty badly injured, had to get taken off for Ortega. Their second goalkeeper who comes on ends up winning man of the match. Incredible performance, a good save against Son. Admittedly, Son should have scored the chance, and also a good save for a Kulusevski effort. And you just think again, Ederson, top 3 keepers in the Premier League, Ortega, probably top 10, and he's sat on the bench week in, week out. Haaland gets his double and then gets replaced by Julian Alvarez in the 95th minute, and Julian Alvarez would start for practically... In fact, is there a team he wouldn't start for in the Premier League right now? I think he'd, up top as a striker, he'd start for Arsenal, he'd start for Liverpool, he'd start for Manchester United. He's on the bench in a game which means everything, in a game which decides the title. By the way, I think Tottenham today and Tottenham fans are absolutely pathetic. There was a part of the game where Manchester City went 1-0 up and Tottenham fans were doing the Manchester... Is it called Poznans, where they turn around and start jumping up and down? I don't know how you say the word correctly. That's pathetic. Tottenham have never won anything in my entire lifetime. Today, if they'd have picked up 3 points, there was still a chance... Not an amazing chance, but still a chance that they get Champions League football next season, which for a club like Tottenham is a massive success. Let's keep it real. For them, that is the best they can hope to achieve realistically. And I think that Ange summed it up well in the build-up to this game, saying, no, I actually want to win things. I want trophies. I don't want bragging rights. Well, Tottenham fans today clearly didn't care about that. The loudest they were throughout the game is when they were chanting about Arsenal. I just think it's pretty sad, to be honest. And I'm surprised that a club like Tottenham are celebrating another year of Manchester City dominance like this. I know Arsenal would probably do the same if it was the other way around, but maybe not to this level. Maybe not if they were fighting to still get European spots. And Aston Villa haven't been in the greatest form recently. An amazing game for them last night, but I don't know. I'm just bored. I'm bored of Manchester City being so good, and this Arsenal squad is one of the best I've seen in the Premier League for many, many years. They've got the best defence in the league, lacking a striker, but 3 of the best wingers in the league with Trossard, Saka. Martinelli's not been as good this year, but you can still tell the quality's there. But Manchester City just do it every time. Jeremy Doku, another substitute who came on today, won the penalty, which put it to bed, put it to 2-0. It just feels like everything they've got is too much for everyone else. And the saddest thing about it for me, in reality, is all the charges that loom over them. When they come to bite them, it's going to taint the Premier League and what's happened for the last decade. Because let's say if you're a City fan watching this, I'll try not to be biased in this moment. I mean, I wouldn't be biased anyway. I'm a Leeds fan. I don't mind City as a club, but I just think the way that things have been done is pretty disgusting, to be honest. Let's say 115 charges. Let's say you get done with 30 of them, so there's 3 charges a season for the last 10 seasons. Well, if you were going to get points deductions for those, or have transfer embargoes, or whatever the punishment may have been, it taints everything you've done in that entire time period. And I don't think as a City fan I'd be particularly happy with that, because you could have just built up to a level of challenging and doing well whilst doing things the right way and spending as much money as you could and not doing anything dodgy in any sense. You can say, oh, well, we've not been proved guilty of anything. 115 charges, boys. It's obvious some of them are going to come back to bite you. And even if it doesn't in a points deduction, you hear shouts of, oh, send them to the Championship, send them to League One. That's not going to happen, is it? But even if it's just fines, and then that would have affected FFP and et cetera, it just seems like they've been allowed to do this, and they've been allowed to get to a point where it is genuinely an unfair playing field. Tottenham looked quite good today, to be honest, for the majority of the match. There were periods that they had more chances. City looked out of it for most of the first half. They really didn't click. And then great play between De Bruyne and Haaland to get it in. It's what you expect from them. Haaland, what did it end up costing him? Like 50 mil or something. Obviously, he didn't. He's on about £500 million a week. It's not actually costing him 50 mil, is it? De Bruyne, the best attacking midfielder the Premier League's ever seen, without a doubt. Playing in the same team as Bernardo Silva. He's got to be up there in conversations by the time he leaves. He's going to be one of the best midfielders / wingers the Premier League's ever seen. It's mad. It's mad. And how they built this squad is probably going to be found out to be deemed not fit by the Premier League rules. But congratulations to Manchester City on another Premier League title. Genuinely condolences to Arsenal, because what more could you have done? Realistically, it's been a great season from Arsenal, and I don't think Arsenal fans would ask for much more. But it comes back to, all right, so after 4 years of dominance, can Arsenal beat this next year? Like, really? Can they beat this next year? Because this has been City not at the best, remember? So if they are at their best, who can overtake them? My answer to that is probably no one. And it's a sad state of affairs. And it's going to stay like that for a while now, because a lot of that squad isn't exactly old. Got Ake, Haaland, both young, fantastic players. Gvardiol, what was he, 90 mil or something? A lot of money. Anyway, I'll stop rambling on. If you like football content, please subscribe to the channel. I feel like if you're a City fan watching this, you'll think, get fucked. And that's fair enough. But yeah, like and subscribe. Come back tomorrow for whatever the video tomorrow will be. Have a good night. Peace.